Have you ever wondered how a company can sift through millions of random, angry, and happy customer comments on social media and somehow turn all that noise into a multi-million-dollar business decision? Well, the secret is all about taming the absolute chaos of modern data. So let's dive into how we did from that messy data to some truly massive insights. For decades, this has been the main battle in business tech. On one side, you've got this tangled mess of old applications and databases, all speaking their own weird language. It is pure chaos. And on the other side, you have the promise of the enterprise data warehouse, this single perfect system that brings order and what everyone calls a single version of the truth. All right, so let's kick things off with a classic hero of this story, the solution that businesses depended on for years to bring that desperately needed order, the enterprise data warehouse. The best way to think of an EDW is like a meticulously organized library. It was built to take predictable, structured data, stuff like daily sales numbers, inventory counts, customer records, and file it all away perfectly. The goal was simple, but it was really powerful. Create one single, reliable source for all business reports. But then the world changed, and the data changed right along with it. And all of a sudden, the EDW's greatest strength, that rigid, perfect structure, well, it became its biggest weakness. And this is where our old hero starts to stumble. See, the EDW demanded that you define the structure of your data before you could even think about storing it. It's a concept called schema on write. It literally means you have to know exactly what the box looks like before you put anything in it. Now, that was totally fine for spreadsheets, right? But what about customer emails or social media posts or sensor data for machines? The EDW just wasn't built for that messy, unpredictable world, or for the new kinds of analysis like machine learning that came with it. Yeah, this quote absolutely nails it. The very thing that made the EDW so reliable also made it incredibly brittle. Trying to shove all these new, weird types of data into its neat little predefined boxes, well, it could, and often did, just wreak havoc on the entire system. So this created a huge problem. Businesses were sitting on a potential gold mine of insights hidden in all this new data, but their main tool, the EDW, couldn't get to it. And that limitation is what set the stage for a totally new approach, born from a new kind of challenge. Let's make this real. Imagine a major retail company. They know customers are talking about them on Twitter, but how on earth could they analyze millions of tweets? We're talking text, slang, hashtags, pictures, emojis, the whole messy shebang. Their trusted enterprise data warehouse? Completely useless for a job like that. So they tried something completely different. Instead of trying to structure the data first, they just dumped it all. All the raw, messy Twitter data went straight into a huge repository they called a data lake. Then, they used powerful new tools to scan all that raw text for sentiment, and what they found was incredible. A huge number of negative comments had nothing to do with products or prices. People were complaining about small, crowded dressing rooms. So, as a test, they remodeled them in just one store. And the result? Sales in that one test store shot up 7% in a single month. So they rolled out the changes nationwide, and the company saw a 6% jump in sales growth across the board. We're talking millions in new profit, and all of it came from just listening to the chaos of Twitter. And that, right there, is the power of a data lake. So, okay, what's the formal definition? It's basically a central place to store everything, structured, unstructured, semi-structured, you name it, and you store it in its original raw format. No need to clean it up or file it away first. Okay, so this is the absolute key, the big philosophical shift you need to get. A data warehouse is schema on write. It's like a bottled water factory. You have to design and build the bottle, the structure, before you can fill it with water, which is your data. A data lake is schema on read. You load the data first, then you apply structure later. It's like a giant reservoir. You just collect all the water first, and then you figure out how you want to bottle it later, whenever you actually need it. And here's what that paradigm shift looks like in action. The old, top-down warehouse approach was design the structure, then ingest the data, then analyze it. The new, bottom-up approach of the data lake flips that completely on its head. You ingest everything first, analyze it in its raw form, and only then do you decide how to structure it for whatever you need. Okay, but, and this is a huge but, all of this incredible flexibility comes with a very, very serious risk. If you just dump everything into a lake without any kind of management, you don't end up with a valuable reservoir. You get something much, much worse. You get a data swamp. And yes, it is every bit as gross as it sounds. It's the name for a failed data lake, a chaotic, undocumented, untrustworthy mess that's so polluted with bad data that no one can actually use it for anything. So how does this happen? Well, it happens when there's no metadata, so no one even knows what's in the lake. There's no governance, so the quality is terrible and nothing is consistent. It quickly turns into a data graveyard, a place where data just goes to die, not to be used. It's a really frustrating and very expensive mistake. So the big question is, how do you avoid building a swamp? Well, the solution is to understand that a well-designed data lake isn't just one giant messy puddle. It's actually a series of managed zones that add quality and structure step by step. A really common way to do this is with a 3-zone architecture. Think of it like a filtration system. First, you have the raw zone. This is where you dump the untouched data, exactly as it comes in. Next up is a clean zone, where that raw data gets standardized, validated, and cleaned up. And finally, you have a presentation zone, which holds beautiful, curated, business-ready data sets that are reliable and ready for analysts to use. It's how you bring order to the chaos. Okay. So this brings up a really important question. You might be thinking, wait a minute, if we're adding all this structure back into the data lake, doesn't that just make the old data warehouse obsolete? The answer is, not at all. In fact, the most powerful data setups today use both. The data lake is the perfect tool for ingesting and exploring all that raw data. Then, the refined, curated data from the lake's presentation zone can be fed into a data warehouse, which is still, by far, the best tool for high-speed, structured business reporting. So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. It is not a competition. It is not lake versus warehouse. It is a partnership. It's lake and warehouse. You use the lake for what it's great at, storing everything and letting you explore, and you use the warehouse for what it's great at, giving you lightning-fast, reliable answers to the business questions you already know you need to ask. And that leaves us with one final thought. For a huge company, this whole lake and warehouse setup makes perfect sense. But what about a smaller organization? Are these super powerful and, let's be honest, often expensive platforms like Snowflake or Databricks just total overkill? Or is investing in them early the key to future-proofing your business, the one thing that will let you turn your own data chaos into clarity? It's a critical question that pretty much every business has to answer these days.